Thou foster child of silence and slow time, all he did was whine. Heard melodies are sweet, but those unheard are sweeter. The upbeat beat may not always be as sweet. For youth beneath the trees, thou cast not thy song. The simple song the wind plays while hitting the pears. That winning near the goal, yet do not grieve. All you need to do is believe and you'll achieve. All breathing human passion for above. All breathing human's passion should be love. Who are these coming to the sacrifice? Those who've never had to sacrifice. When old age shall this generation waste, thou shalt not remain in the midst of other. Woe, then ours, a friend to man, to whom they sayest, a friend to man, but an enemy to the generation.
Life stories? Nah, man, I'm up to tell you how the real live. I'm up to show you how the good live. You don't even know what the truth is. So I'm about to tell me about these stories, how these homies took a walk around the holy city to see the holy blissful martyr, where they can find themselves looking in the mirror just judging each other. Let's take this monk. He ain't lived by his job. Ask anybody around these parts if he devoted to God. Everybody know that he ain't. What he prayed for, what he looked for, as old as trick as he tended to ignore. And you know about it, you know he ain't as good a man as he could be. You don't take his job seriously. On the other hand, there is one man whose pride and practice is gluttony. He ain't got a job to be nice to every man that come through twice. Woe to the cooking of the sausage side. He will feed you on that spot. He may seem like a good man, but all he is a big fat pig who's only if you grew up around this time, you would know what greed is. It is something that no one wants. It is part of something that separates you from me. You are good, but I am God.
How do artists teach? They do it through stories, through morals, and through speech, so that each of you learn and make the lessons and themes your concern. And so you won't make the same mistakes in return and get burned. In Frankenstein, Vic learns in each chapter that the creature, the monster, is a big factor. And when he kills, you're the reactor. And the theme is to your benefactor. I ought to be thy Adam, but I am more of thy fallen angel. The monster is far from an archangel. The world to me is a secret in which I desire to divine. As for the monster, the stars did not align. If I cannot inspire love, I will cause fear. The monster killed who Victor considered dear. In a modest proposal, he gives you a proposal that gives you ideas for your disposal. To solve starvation, a radical interpretation, to save the Irish nation. 6 children, all in rags, all importuning every passenger for an alms. Instead, bake the kids and give them to the moms. It opens your eyes and makes you realize that there are more ideas available. Canterbury teaches of different characters and social status. Most are flawed and have a stratus. Take the doctor, a cheat in his practice, making a living on his malpractice. Each made money from the other's guile. They had been friendly for a goodish while. You see, a stratus is a dark cloud that hangs on the crowd while they tell their stories aloud to each other, to one another, a story to pass the time. When you ode to a yearn, it was Keats' concern to teach a lesson of beauty. He uses metaphors and imagery rhythmically. Never canst thou kiss through winning near the goal, forever frozen on the bowl. To describe the yearn physically, lyrically, it's an ode to beauty. The artwork will stay for an eternity. A woman was murdered in broad daylight 2 blocks away. A security system, they thought, was a cheap price to pay for their protection, a real simple goal. Their idea, however, didn't quite roll. Their kid got killed with horrible dismay. Was security system really a cheap price to pay? All of these stories are solid like rocks. Unlike in class when we watched TED Talks.
This young kid, his name was T. He grew up seeing all the pain that we see. But T wasn't scared. He was ready to face the world and all that it fed. He wanted to help the city just find the cure. He never did he know it would take a detour. T grew up with this dream in mind, not knowing the solution he would finally find. T sat down, he thought real hard, contribute to the feeding and help the starve. He had an idea, man, it seemed so crazy. Let's just eat all the kids, children, and babies. That will work, right? He thought to himself, you know it just might. He thought of their wealth. It could help the mothers pay for some food. It could give the fathers something to prove. Now this idea may be grand, but there is one problem we have in hand. who would give their children away to the state just to be slaughtered and served on a plate. He sat down, he tried to think logically, tried to think of something that would end all this poverty, rejected the materials that everybody in their home country. He got famous, he became a star, got all this money, fancy new cars. His home country had finished its repairs, but look at the world and nobody cares.
Alright, how would I explain the artist role? Sit back and listen to this one. As Shelley once said, one man's life were but a small price to pay for the acquirement of knowledge I sought. So one must critique the monster Dr. Frank fought. Both Frank and Walton are willing to die for knowledge, but that all goes downhill when people acknowledge the monster. When Chaucer said people can die with mere imagination, it makes me question then Frank's creation, and also helps me understand his frustration and fixation on his damnation that left Justine pleading, I would pledge my salvation. So the purpose of art must be then to open the eyes of another so that they can open their own minds and discover. Now what about those societal issues? I'm gonna make some points and try not to diss you. Goldieman talks about how everything's hidden behind an array of different varieties of security fences, walls, and devices. But was it all worth it for the death of a son in an area of high prices? We see the price of the parents that was paid to the fear of outsiders, a bad group of rough riders. The bleeding mass of the body was hacked out of security coils with saws, wire cutters, choppers, and they were carried into the house, so scared as even an alarm tripped by a cat chasing a mouse. That once was he is now an it, just a tattered, dismembered boy that is as nothing as a popped zit. But what about those personal experiences that some may seek, like Ode to the Grecian Yearn by Mr. John Keats? Old lover, never canst thou kiss. In agonizing pain this man feels, but still says love is bliss. For a love of this woman leaves a burning head and a parched tongue. Perhaps he feels she died too young. Beauty is truth, truth beauty, and that is all ye know on earth and all ye need to know. So if you're looking for teaching critique, hit replay and listen on repeat.